Uh, are all the monitors wait on? So we'll start with the diseases of the heart and the blood vessels. So the good news here for this heart is there are no malignant tumors.
Binadya na si Cha.
All you need to do is just know the histology, and mostly diseases of the heart are usually inflammatory and infarction. So what do you mean by infarction? It means that your either your nucleus is either you're having pyrolysis or you're having an inflammatory process. So that's why it is wise if you would check the site, you should always check for viable heart muscle. Since the main problem of the heart is mostly either you have a viable heart muscle or a dead or infarcted heart muscle. So what are your implications in your practical exam or in a projection to know that the heart is viable? What is the main structure that you should look?
Nucleus.
Yes, the nucleus. What is the color of the nucleus?
Blue.
Blue, okay. So you have to check every heart muscle if it has a blue tinge. So blue, round, blue nucleus. If you have a round blue nucleus inside the heart muscle, that means that your heart muscle is viable. And another criteria for knowing if the heart muscle is living or dead, what is the another criteria?
Nucleolus.
Nucleolus. Nucleolus is malignant. And what is another criteria? The color. The color of the heart muscle. So what is the color of the heart muscle? What is the color?
Pinky.
Eosinophilic, basophilic? Of course, it's eosinophilic. Why? Because the nucleus is basophilic. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the nucleus. So it's highly eosinophilic. So that means red in color. So red in color with a viable nucleus, that means that your heart muscle is alive. So that is always you should detect when you go to the practical exam and you are starting to make confusion. That is your marker to know if the heart muscle is dead or alive. First, the color of the heart muscle and the nucleus. But for me, I always look at the nucleus first. I always confirm if it is an alive heart muscle because that will give you at least a direct hint already that you are dealing with a live muscle. So if you're dealing with a live heart, that means you're just dealing with two. It's either inflammatory or a benign tumor, like that. So inflammatory, that means you're infiltrated with inflammatory cells, or a benign tumor, which means it presents histology but it undergoes multiple division, multiplication. So the same as histology. So this one, what do you think is the main problem here? First, when you go to your practical exam, do not panic. Okay, because if you panic, you cannot evaluate anymore. So first, always, what will you look? Evaluate first, living ba or dead. That's number one. Evaluate your specimen, whether you are dealing with a live specimen or an infarcted or dead specimen. So what do you think is this one? Is this an infarcted or living specimen? Living heart tissue. Living heart tissue meaning the heart is functioning, and however, due to autopsy, it was being taken out. So what do you think is this? This is living or dead? Or infarcted? Living. What is your basis?
Nucleus.
Okay. So where is the nucleus? There is your nucleus. The one, did you see the mouse pointer?
Yes.
That's the nucleus. So you see one nucleus here, and there are plenty of nucleus in every heart muscle here. So you're dealing with a
Live tissue.
living heart. A living heart. And one thing, what is another thing that you should look? The color of the heart muscle. Is it highly eosinophilic or pale?
Eosinophilic.
Eosinophilic. You should know the color. Why? Because when we deal with infarction and you are about to evaluate the age of the heart, if you don't know the color of a normal heart, and in contrast, you cannot identify, this heart is about to fail or this heart is already dead, like that. Because I will show you later a heart that is about to fail and the color is faded. Na siya. So important for the color. So this one, the nucleus will state you, this is a living heart. Okay, so living heart, you are dealing with, if you see a living heart, so infarction is already rolled out sa inyong practical. You're dealing with two problems. Whether this is a neoplastic pathology or an inflammatory. So, or so-called hypertrophy. I'm sorry, that's 3. Hypertrophy. So hypertrophy, which means, how would you know if it is hypertrophy? You take note at the nucleus. The normal nucleus, what is the shape of the normal nucleus? Round? Yes, that's the shape of the normal nucleus. Do you see a nucleus which is square? No. But later you will see a square nucleus. Later, I will show you a square nucleus. That's why you should know the normal nucleus, which is a round nucleus. Because I have a specimen here in which the characteristic is just the nucleus, which is square in shape. So, okay, let's evaluate the nucleus. This nucleus, is this round or square? Obviously, round. You will know it's a square because I will show you later a boxcar nucleus, which is a characteristic of a pathology here. So, remember that size of the nucleus. This one is round. This is the normal nucleus. So, what do you think is the main problem for this one? Is this hypertrophy? I don't think so. Because the nucleus is round, so hypertrophy is ruled out already. That's how you rule things. Right now, I'm teaching you how to rule it out the slides. So next, what will you do? You will evaluate whether it is inflammatory or neoplasia. So did you see any inflammatory cells? Inflammatory infiltrates. Did you see anything? No? Anyone else who want to check? There's clearly a very distinctive. How about this one? What are this one? What are these tiny little dots here? What are these? Do you think it's normal? Sometimes you would confuse this with a fibroblast. But remember, fibroblasts are spindle shape, not round shape. So, round shape, that is, signifies inflammatory cell. So, round shape is an inflammatory cell because, remember, your fibroblast, sometimes you might mistake this as collagen fiber, but these are your fibroblasts. Remember, fibroblasts are spindle shape, not round. So, that means it looks like tama in your biopsy, not dot. If you see a dot, then that means this is an inflammatory cell. So what is this inflammatory cell? So what are the inflammatory cells that you should need to differentiate? Acute and chronic, diba? PMNs versus lymphoplasmacytic. So how would you know if it is lymphoplasmacytic and if it is polymorphonuclear cells? Number 1 criteria. Take a note at the color of the nucleus. Is it dark blue or is it pale? Dark blue. Take the note of the shape of the nucleus of your inflammatory cell. Is it round or slightly irregular? Round, diba? Is it darkly colored, compact, or is it loosely spongy?
Dark.
Huh? Do you think it's spongy? No, I don't think it's spongy. It's compact. That one. Compact. That means the color is very striking. That means even if you have a bad eyesight, so this is a favor for those with bad eyesight. Because usually bad eyesight, they say, blurry man. But This one, even if you have a bad eyesight, you could see that one as blue. That one, blue, dark, and compact. Round, compact. So what is that cell? Is it polymorphonuclear or lymphoplasmacytic?
Limpo.
So that's a lymphoplasmacytic cell. Lymphoplasmacytic cells are round, compact nuclear chromatin, and then you have a bluish violet color. Round nucleus. Remember, if you're looking at a round if you're dealing with inflammatory cells, that's the criteria that you should look. PMNs looks spongy, looks loose. The nuclear chromatin are loose, and the color is blue. Blue in color, not bluish black. This one is bluish black. So these are lymphoplasmacytic cells. So what do you think is the pathology for this one? This is a inflammatory nature. So that is a slide number STS30, which is viral myocarditis. So the characteristic for viral myocarditis is lymphoplasmacytic inflammatory infiltrates, in which I described long ago what is the characteristic of your lymphoplasmacytic cells. This is the lymphoplasmacytic cells that I point to you in low power. Obviously, you should learn how to identify using low power because that is the pathologist's eyepiece. The low power objective is always the pathologist's eyepiece, and you should evaluate that the heart nucleus should be round, not square, and it should be there's a nucleus, so that is basophilic. And your muscles should be highly eosinophilic, your cardiac muscle. That is your criteria. So lymphoplasmacytic plus a normal heart muscle makes your diagnosis of viral myocarditis. What is your etiologic agent for viral myocarditis? Have you heard of devil's grip? In which there's a very painful chest pain here, and sometimes the patient might consult to you and will seek admission because they can tolerate the pain. That is viral myocarditis. That's Coxsackie virus. So Coxsackie virus is an etiology for viral myocarditis. Okay. So any questions so far? Confusions for myocarditis, viral myocarditis? Any confusions, doubts? Okay, so none. So we'll proceed with other slides. So this one. Now first, before you make your identification, your number one would be you have to know the organ, because in the practical exam, I think the organ will not be specified because it's all heart and a little bit of, I think, liver and kidney. So what is your criteria? So what do you think would be this specimen? Is this a heart tissue, a kidney, or a liver?
Liver. Important.
Why do you say it's a liver? This one, you see the sinusoids, that one. And these are the liver parenchyma within the sinusoids, that one. And what is that striking is, what is this hole here? This lumen. What's that? The lumen of the what vessel? The liver, what is that? What do you call the vessel that is surrounding the liver sinusoids? Central or portal vein?
Central.
Central vein. So this is the central vein. If there's a tag and then it said identify the structure pointed, anatomic structure pointed, that is central vein. Okay, so, okay, let me ask you, if this is a liver cell, what do you think is the most problematic or striking feature that will guide you? This is the diagnosis. This is not histologic. This is definitely pathologic. Where is it? Let me point and said true or false. Is this the one? True or false? Pointed. False. That's the vessel. That's okay. Is this the one? That's false. Parenchyma. That's okay. However, when I told you if this is the one, that's the one. That is necrotic. Why is it necrotic? Did you see any nucleus in that pointed cell?
No.
It's purely pink. Diba? Pink. So, what is the term? So, describe the nuclear changes that is pointed. Describe the nuclear changes. So, remember your chapter 1. Isa mo ito yung nuclear changes in a necrotic cell. The no-nucleus, which is the karyolysis, karyohexis, which is several nucleus, and pycnosis, which is one tiny nucleus. What is this one? Karyolysis. So you have to identify the nuclear changes. This is karyolysis. How about this one? What is this one? What's that? Karyohexis, pycnosis, karyolysis. What is that cell? Undergo nuclear changes undergoing in that cell. That is karyohexis. Why? There are two nucleus here. One here, and then the other one which is inconspicuous, very tiny little dot over there. Two. Okay, so that's karyohexis. And there is one here. I'm going to show you very clear na pycnosis. How about this one? This one. That's pycnosis. There's one nucleus over there. Inside the necrotic, that is the necrotic liver cell. So that's why this is slide number centrilobular necrosis. Slide number A12J, GCM9. Why it is called centrilobular necrosis? Because the necrosis is found in the middle of the liver. So that means there's a normal liver tissue, there's a central vein which is somewhat undergoing a little necrosis, and here are the necrotic area, centri. So that means center. The necrosis is located in the center. That's why it's called centrilobular necrosis. Why is it so? Because this is the area in which less blood supply there's less blood supply in that area. That's why it's called centrilobular, because this liver, remember, is made up of lobules, lobular. So that's why it's centrilobular necrosis. Your marker would be this is a liver tissue, and then you confirm this is central vein, and you see those necrotic liver cells surrounding a normal liver tissue and a central vein. Very easy to identify, and in the practical exam, I think you won't be mistaken unless if you are blacked out in the practical exam. So make sure, that's why the practical exam, do not go black out. This is how you identify. First, identify the organ, basis for your identification, and then look if that organ is dead or alive. This one, you see this one, there's a nucleus in there, so this is a viable liver cell. This one, the problem with necrosis is this one. If you see pycnosis, how would you know if that nucleus is dead or necrotic nucleus? Number one is the color. Usually, the color for necrotic nucleus is dark in color, not bluish. Dark and small dot. So it looks like inflammatory cells. The problem is you have a cytoplasm. This one you have a cytoplasm. This one you have a cytoplasm. You might mistaken this for lymphoplasmacytic cells, but actually this is not lymphoplasmacytic because there's a cytoplasm on there, which is the necrotic liver cytoplasm, hepatocytes. Okay, so that's how you differentiate. Karyohexis, very easy, salt and pepper appearance. You see very tiny little blue dots. in a parenchyma, in a parenchyma of an organ. Okay, so any questions, confusions, or clarifications for these slides before we move on? Okay, so none. What do you call that liver? This liver. How do you describe the liver grossly? Nutmeg liver. This is a chronic passive congestion of the liver that is prolonged enough that it causes centrilobular necrosis. So that is a nutmeg liver. Grossly, you will see a nutmeg liver. And your and you will see sometimes your hemosiderin-laden macrophages. If I could point here, I think there is, I doubt it is color. This is somewhat acentric hemosiderin-laden macrophages. I don't know because it looks golden brown to me. This one, I think probably this is hemosiderin-laden macrophages because the nucleus looks spongy and your cytoplasm is golden brown hemosiderin. But it's not important. That's just the most important thing is you should know that necrotic liver cells in between a normal and between a normal hepatocytes and a normal central vein. That is characteristic for the centrilobular necrosis. Okay. The most striking appearance that you see that will guide you. This is definitely a slide that is special. What is special in this slide compared to the rest of the slides? Have you seen the color? Diba? Mostly, when you want to see, mostly pathologists are very sensitive with color. So you have to be very sensitive with color unless if you're colorblind. But I don't think you are colorblind with this darker here. This one dark, that area that is dark, that is, if you see those slides, it's predominantly blue, bluish black. So that is this one, and you see those lightly stained structure. So this is a mitral valve. This is a mitral valve. So this is rheumatic heart. This is dystrophic calcification of the mitral valve. Now, what is the color of your calcium when you combine that? When you combine with the stain, it's stained bluish violet or black in color. So dystrophic calcification looks like this color. Bluish black, this one, totally dystrophic calcification, that one. This pink one here are your valve, your mitral valve. But this mitral valve, minds you, are not normal valve. They are valves that are dead already because they don't have any nucleus. And that's why you could see dystrophic calcification. So in your practical exam, very easy. If you see this one, darkest violet, and you see predominantly pinkish, and you see those darkest violet that is scattered all around, that is your dystrophic calcification of a rheumatic heart disease of a mitral valve. Okay, so what do you think is the etiologic agent for this one? Streptococcus pyogenes. Classifying Streptococcus pyogenes as to Landsfield classification. Group A. Group A, alpha, beta. Beta hemolytic streptococci. So, group A, beta hemolytic streptococci. And then, it has a molecular mimicry. involving the M protein, which will lead you sometimes to acute post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. If you have a molecular mimicry involving the M protein, remember that one in your renal pathology. Kung mo ka-remember, I will include that in the exam sa projection. And anyway, I'll just, but remember that one, a very important principle because it came out in the boards this year, August. Molecular mimicry involving M protein. That's the pathologic mechanism. If you have group A metahemolytic strep and then it goes to your kidney or your heart. So, if you have rheumatic heart fever and you have group A beta-hemolytic strep infection, that is molecular mimicry involving M protein as your mechanism of action or pathologic process. If I ask you what is the pathologic process, that is the one, molecular mimicry involving M protein. What is the meaning of molecular mimicry? Which means there's a substance that is the same in a strep, group A strep, beta-hemolytic strep that could bind to the antibody. So the heart muscle, they produce antibody in which the group A beta-hemolytic strep, they have the antigen, they could bind into it and then it could cause damage to the heart. That is probably a type 2 hypersensitivity reaction. Remember your type 2, which means the antibody is fixed into the organ and then there's an antigen and then the antigen attacks the correct antigen which has the same shape which will attach to your antibody and then it will cause reactions or damage. That's why it's called molecular mimicry. Involving, why is it M protein? Because M protein is the pathologic protein that is found in your group A beta-hemolytic strep or Streptococcus pyogenes. Streptococcus pyogenes, resistant to bacitracin, sensitive to bacitracin. Very easy to remember. What is bacitracin? Bacitracin is an antibiotic. And Streptococcus, usually we use antibiotic to kill Streptococcus. So it is sensitive to bacitracin. Before, bacitracin was used as an antibiotic. Right now, it is not used because it has a very toxic component to your kidney. I forgot. That's why it has been removed. It has been used for diagnostic but not for treatment anymore. Okay, so this one is a little bit confusing because you might think, if you don't know this is the heart tissue, you might think this could be a collagen fiber. But actually, this is a heart tissue. And what is it? If you see those nucleus here, this is myxoma of the heart. Actually, myxoma of the heart, that is slide STS-28. So you would see those heart valves in which you will see those nucleus, but the nucleus here are normal, benign, histologic nucleus. So you will see those nucleus are very light staining and it's round. It's not fusiform, it's round. So this is myxoma of the heart, a benign tumor of the heart, and then it could cause your emboli, your ball valve embolus, the so-called ball valve embolus as a pathology. So the pathologic process is the ball valve embolus involving this tumor because this tumor is large enough, it impedes the heart. And then when the blood goes into this atrial myxoma, the blood has a hard time penetrating that big valve over there. So it will create their embolus because of high pressure. It will stuck, the blood will be stagnant and it will create embolus on that. That's why it is so-called ball valve embolus. The valve, the embolus looks like a ball, and then anytime when that valve, it will propel, it will go anywhere. If it propel to the left atrium, it goes to the left atrium and it will create embolus on that area. Or if the embolus is small enough and the left atrium has large pressure, it will propel to the ventricle. But mostly, it is to the left atrium because the left ventricle has more pressure than your left atrium. Okay? So, understood? Okay. So, very easy to identify. Just remember, if you see, if this is a heart, if this is the heart, you would imagine this looks like fibrotic tissue, but actually these are not fibrotic tissue. These are heart valves. That is myxoma of the heart. Okay. Okay. So, what do you think is the main problem for this one? So here, okay, we'll analyze this one by one using our algorithm. So first, what is the main thing that you should differentiate? What is your number one? If you go into the practical and you're doubting on somebody, what's this? I don't know. There's plenty of this one. What are this one? What are this one? So first, you should evaluate: is this a living heart or a dead heart, necrotic heart? Why is it living? Nucleus. Where is your nucleus? This one, nucleus. That's the one, nucleus. That's our faded nucleus. This one are your nucleus. This one, no, this one. This one are your nucleus. This one is probably apoptotic cells. This is your nucleus. That one, your nucleus. And what do you think is this one? So this is a live cell. So a live cell, you consider what? Either it is benign tumor or inflammatory. So what is your criteria for knowing if it is an inflammatory? You have your inflammatory cells. So in this area, what cell is predominant in this area here? Inflammatory cells or neoplastic cells? Now remember, if you consider cancer in the heart is very, very rare. So please do not give me a diagnosis of myocardial carcinoma because there is no such thing as myocardial carcinoma. So all you have to do is just to differentiate whether inflammatory or tumor. So is this a benign tumor? Benign tumor looks like histology. Diba? Do you see inflammatory cells in your normal histology of the heart? No. This one, what do you think is this one? These are your inflammatory cells. So, what are these inflammatory cells? So, when you have inflammatory cells, you have to evaluate whether leukoplastocytic or polymononuclear. Otherwise, you will be confused with your viral myocarditis. So, what do you think is this inflammatory cells? How would you evaluate your inflammatory cells? First, by looking at the shape. Always this is the sequence: shape, color, sign, shape, color, and the nuclear chromatin. The density of the nuclear chromatin. That's how you evaluate your inflammatory cells. So the shape of the nucleus. What do you think? Totally round or irregular?
Regular.
Round? Sure?
Regular.
Looks round. Okay. The color. Is it blue or is it violet, darkish violet or bluish violet?
Violet.
Bluish violet? Blue? Yes, it's blue. It's not bluish violet because bluish violet is very striking. Bluish violet, even if you have a bad eyesight, you could see that because it's very dark, like an alum. Did you see an alum in your face? Alum mole. A mole in your face, like that. It's a mole. So this one, this is lighter in color. This is not lighter in color. And why is it lighter in color? Because the chromatin, the nuclear chromatin is loose. So this is lighter in color. It is not totally circle. You will see this one, especially this one. Did you see that one? That is not circular. That is looks like kidney shape. That's siya. So these are your, what are these cells? Polymorphonuclear cells. So when you see polymorphonuclear cells, obviously that is not viral myocarditis. Because viral myocarditis, the predominant cell is lymphoplasmacytic and not polymorphonuclear cells. So these are polymorphonuclear cells plus what are this one? What are these cells? This one here, what is this one? Is this a living cell or a necrotic cell? Necrotic, cardiolyosis naman, di ba? There's no nucleus. So, what is that substance, that pathologic substance in which infiltrates of polymorphonuclear cells plus necrotic debris? What is that material? Review your chapter 3. What is that? What is that material? Mostly we see that when you are wounded. When you have a big wound and then you might think that it looks gross in appearance. It's very oozing. That's pus. So that's the component of pus. So you see your necrotic debris plus your polymorphonuclear cells. Polymorphonuclear cells. That's your pus. So when you see that one, that is indicative of an abscess. Plus, how would you know it is an abscess? Because it is localized in one area. So that area is heavily infiltrated by polymorphonuclear cells and necrotic debris. Here are your rhabdoblasts, rhabdomyoblasts that are viable. This is just a localized infiltrates of your polymorphonuclear cells and your necrotic debris. So that's how you diagnose abscess formation in the myocardium. So, the etiologic agent for your abscess, what are they? Mostly they are your staph, your strep, your pyogenic organisms. So, your spectrum for your inflammatory response would be your suppurative, inflammatory, inflammation. Okay. So, any questions, doubts, clarifications before we proceed to another? So very easy. This is your criteria. When you see a viable heart, and then here you see those polymorphonuclear cells with necrotic debris. It is localized on one area. That's an abscess of the myocardium, myocardium. Okay. So clear? No questions?
Ayun daw ma. Kanya. Ikuha niya ang iyang card. Ayaw ma. Ha? Ano ma?
Okay. So, we'll proceed with another slides in which I would like to let you evaluate. So what do you think is this one? Any striking difference? This one. What is this one? What are these? What are these cells? What are these? These are your, anyone who knows? This is the heart, right? So this is this your normal rhabdomyoblast? Diba? Normal, eh? This is a normal. Why is the nucleus there? And then you see those eosinophilic cytoplasm. This is a normal rhabdomyoblast. However, did you see, what did you see here? Huh? Tail. And then you describe the nucleus. Nucleus, okay. Let me see. Describe the nucleus. What are these? Is this round or fusiform or flat? Kama, diba? Looks like kama shape. So definitely that's not a nucleus of a viable heart muscle. So what do you think is a tissue in which there is infiltrate of your fusiform shaped nucleus? What is that tissue? Review your histology. Nagawas naman ang boards in which it has histology question. It is made into a description, and then they are asked to ask what is that tissue. So what is that? Is it a normal heart tissue or another connective tissue or any tissue?
Not normal.
Huh? So that's a fibroblast. Okay. So if that's a fibroblast, then that means these are your collagen fiber. So do you normally see collagen fiber in your heart tissue?
No.
Of course, because if you see normal collagen in heart tissue, how can your heart function well? Diba? That means that this heart has already gone dead, imparted, and then undergo healing process. So these are your healed myocardial infarction. So you see collagen fiber. Now you have to take note of the fibroblast that is your guide, because afterwards I will let you, because you have to identify in your practical exam the commonly mistaken, the more commonly mistaken for this one is your old myocardial infarction, in which you would see predominant collagen fiber. Here, you see those, your area, here this is the hyalinized connective tissue in this area. So this is hyalinized, that means you cannot see any nucleus anymore. So that means this one is already healed. This one is the healed myocardial infarction, in which it is accumulated by hyalinized connective tissue. Like that. When you compare that to the old MI, in which you will see later, I will let you compare with that. So the old MI has plenty of fibroblasts. This one, you see an area of large hyalinized tissue. Like that. So this is your healed myocardial infarction. So, do you know how to, any questions or confusions regarding this diagnosis?
None so far.
Okay. So this time we're dealing with a dead heart na siya. This is a dead. This area here is the infarcted myocardium. This one is the normal myocardium. So compare the color, you will see a difference here. Right? Compare the color. Lighter, very hyalinized. Luspat. This one, red. Luspat. Luspat is like luspat, which means it is colorized. Luspat is decolorized, that means no color or pale in color. This one is eosinophilic. Okay?
Liver. Autograph dito.
Okay. So, we'll go to another slides. Now, first, before you go into your practical exam and kalma lang and calm down first, let's evaluate this one. Okay. So what do you think is the main striking problem here? You see here, these are your, what is this one? Normal or dead cardiac tissue. First, evaluate sa dead or normal. That is your number one goal you're always when you go to practical exam. Evaluate first if you're seeing dead tissue or normal. So this is normal. Diba? Kaya red man na, red in color. And you see those nucleus. That nucleus, there's a nucleus there. It's round. Diba? So this is a normal cardiac tissue. How about here? What do you think is this? Is this a cardiac tissue? Rhabdomyoblast? The area I pointed, what do you think is that? Is that a cardiac tissue or not a cardiac tissue? What is your basis? Your basis always, when you're in doubt, always check the shape of the nucleus. Because sometimes a fibroblast, if you don't know, the color of the fibroblast usually is pale pink. That's not eosinophilic. So that's why you should know, you should compare this color from this color. Here, very striking a difference. This one is pale pink. This one is red. Diba? This one has a nucleus. This is round. This one, what is the nucleus? This one looks fusiform. Diba? That one, fusiform nucleus. It's not round. So what do you think is this structure here? These are your collagen fiber. Collagen fiber. So how would you compare the healed from the old? Now this is how this is the color. This is how you would know. The healed myocardial, the color is pink. Ang loose pad, example, you see the area of the paler compartment. This is the normal. This is pale. You compare with the whole old and the healed. Ang old, the color is pink. The healed, the color is very pale pink. Actually, whitish pa do. It almost looks like glassy in appearance. This one, pink. You see those pink here? This one, those pink color. Okay? So that's your old MI. Compare before, di ba? You see it before the healed MI, it's so pale and sometimes highly nice. So that means no nucleus na siya. This one, you will see here, this one looks to me almost highly nice, but still, you would appreciate the pinkish color there. So that's your collagen fiber. That's still your collagen fiber. That one. And a little bit of fibroblast. And compare it with the previous one, which is, you would see pale color all around. So the color itself. So right now, you should be able to identify the normal, which is red. The next is pink, and then lighter pink, or somewhat, I don't know how to describe that. It looks, it's lighter pink and very ground glass in appearance. So this is old MI. The healed MI is the duration is 2 months ago. Old MI is, I think, several days or weeks. Like that. So when I ask you what is the duration of injury, mostly pathologists will ask you the duration of injury. This occurs in weeks. Na siya. The healed MI is months, 2 months na siya. Okay, so take note of the duration because it will definitely came out not only in your practical exam but also in the board exams. So take note of your description. Highly nice na gani, highly nice connective tissue, that is months already, 2 months. So the color is very, very light na yun, sometimes without any nucleus, very pale. But this one, if you see a little slight pinkish tinge, and then connective tissue, collagen fiber, that is an myocardial infarction occurring weeks ago. Okay? So you have to remember that because mostly in the board exam, they ask questions about this one and you have to evaluate the duration of the myocardial infarction. 2 questions, I get 2 questions from that. The healed and the old. Imagine how difficult is that board exam that was taken that August. There's a recall question. I read all those recall question. It came out. Okay? So you have to differentiate the duration. It's very important. Okay?
Malapit na si Mike. Bieber. Ano? Ano yan? Sabi tayo mamayang gabi. Kain na. Diet ka. One day that... Sige na. Ha? Ikaw lang walang card. Sakit. Kinuha niya lang yung kanya. Kinuha niya yung card niya. Bieber, nag-isipan mo ah. Eh, kasi hindi na. Injured.
Okay, so this one here, this is a slide. So obviously this is hard, you know already the specimen. So first, what is your main goal when you go to the practical exam? What is your number one goal? Differentiate dead or alive rhabdomyoblast. Okay, what is this? Dead or alive? Alive. Okay. Your next is evaluate the nucleus. These are the step up first. Evaluate the color, evaluate the nucleus, the shape and the color of the nucleus. Okay, do you find any abnormal with the nucleus?
Yes.
Huh? Any abnormality?
Yes.
How about this one? What do you think is this nucleus? Is this normal? Kana? That one. What do you think? Normal, abnormal? Normal? Who wants to raise hand and it tells me it's abnormal? Huh? No one raise hand. Ay, dito ganun mo pasar pathology. No one likes to pass pathology. This is an abnormal. Because if you raise your hand, you are correct. That is, you see that nucleus over there. Is it round? Is that nucleus round?
No.
Somewhat square, diba? That's why I told you it looks like square, diba? Diba? Did you see a nucleus that is square? Okay. Let me ask you, histology, do you have a nucleus that is square? Diba? No, there's no nucleus that's square. So that is a characteristic of an hypertensive cardiovascular disease. Boxcar nucleus. And you see those heart muscle, is this a normal heart muscle arrangement or haphazard? Normal?
Separate na siya.
Haphazard. This is haphazard already. You see those fiber. You see those fiber, they are one here, and then there are wavy fibers here, and then you see those fiber that looks like chicken feather. Diba? Haphazardly arranged. And the most striking is this is the one that makes you strike the most, that is your boxcar nucleus. I will show you in high power so that you will appreciate the boxcar nucleus. This definitely, in the practical exam, I will show you in high power for you to not confuse. Okay, I will show you high power now.
Hindi na, taas-taas pa.
Okay. Okay. So, in the high power, would you convince this is a normal nucleus?
No.
Square, rectangle already. Do you see a normal rectangle nucleus? A nucleus, normal nucleus of a rectangular shape? No. That is your boxcar shape nucleus. This one, if you say, this one, is it a normal nucleus? That's already big already. It looks like fireball, diba? In the slide, that is already big. This is too much already. This is a boxcar nucleus. These are boxcar nucleus. So those nucleus are terribly big. So this is one characteristic of your hypertensive heart disease. So boxcar nucleus. Very taggable questions in the practical exam. So your hypertensive heart disease, what is your cutoff BP? For to be considered hypertensive?
Systolic 130.
More than 140?
Over 90.
Over 90? More than only or equal?
More than.
Should be more than or equal to 140 over 90. That is the correct one. How would you classify this as malignant hypertension? Your diastole should be more than?
130.
What is the cutoff?
130.
You should master this because in hypertension, for sure, your resident will drill you alive in the, if you don't know, you should know the normal value. So what is the normal value for malignant hypertension? Diastolic pressure more than? I already discussed that in the nephro. Malignant nephrosclerosis, diba? What is the diastolic blood pressure? More than 130. More than 130 is malignant. So, systole more than? Very easy to remember. 200. 200 over 130. Anything above 200. Anything equal to or above 200 plus the diastole more than 130. It should be more than 130. That is your classification for your malignant hypertension. Okay? So, any questions? So that one, boxcar nucleus, very good taggable question. This is the view that I'm going to let you see in the practical exam. Okay, maybe I know when you are low powered, you cannot appreciate the boxcar. But in high power, klaro tayo. Square, rectangle nucleus. So that's why you should know how to evaluate the nucleus. Or else you would not be able to appreciate the boxcar nucleus. Okay, so questions, confusions, clarifications? Okay, anyone who wants to diagnose this? Wala? No one? Now, first, before you panic in the practical exam, so una, importante is make kalma sa evaluate this slide. What do you think did you see in these slides here?
Ionization.
This one, what are these?
Ionization.
What are these? This one. What's that? What's that? What do you think? Thyroid? No, I don't think it's a thyroid. Why? Because you see those lining, there's no cuboidal epithelium. So it's not thyroid. So what is this one? What do you think is this one?
Kidney. No.
You want to? Did you see this one? This is the normal. There's still normal viable tubule. A renal tubule. This one, renal tubule. So what are this one? These are already, the renal tubule is already replaced, undergoing thyroidization. Thyroidization, so that means your kidney is already dead na siya. That's why you won't be able to see nucleus. And what are these red substance here? What are these substance? That red. I know Dr. Dagantes will tag this. Always. Dr. Dagantes will to tag this. And I also want to tag this because this is very important. This came out in the board exam. What is that? Hybridization in between what is that substance that looks like hybridization. What is that? This one. That's your thumb horsefall protein. Thumb horsefall protein. That's your CAS. That's your thumb horsefall. TAMMHORSFALL. Thumb horsefall protein. That's your CAS. That's why it looks like thyroid tissue. But you might be doubting, why is there's no lining epithelium? Because this is a tubule that is already necrotic and infiltrated by your thumb horsefall CAS. Na siya. Protein. Now here, your problem is here. How about evaluate the blood vessel? How do you evaluate the blood vessel? Is it normal? Blood vessel? What do you think?
No.
Huh? Normal, abnormal?
Abnormal.
Normal? Anyone who wants to raise the hand na normal ang blood vessel? Huh? Raise? No one wants to raise Mayo. Okay, I won't fail you. This is an abnormal blood vessel. So, joker na siya. This is an abnormal blood vessel. Why? You see this one? You see this area here without nucleus, not devoid of nucleus na siya. These are your hyaline. Hyalinized na siya. So this is so-called hyalinized arteriolosclerosis. Hyaline arteriole. This is an arteriole. And it is replaced by your collagen fiber instead of tunica media, which is your smooth muscle. It is replaced already by your collagen fiber. See the nucleus there? It's spindle shaped, not round anymore. So this is collagen fiber. There are areas in which devoid of nucleus. These are your hyalinized area. So hyalinized arteriolosclerosis. So what is the disease in which you have hyaline arteriolosclerosis? What is that pathology? In a kidney. Review. Very important. You should review. You should know this because it's important. It will definitely come out in the boards and in your exam. So what is this pathology in which you have hyaline arteriolosclerosis? Benign nephrosclerosis, that is the one. Benign nephrosclerosis, you will see the striking hyaline arteriolosclerosis. This is your distinctive feature for diagnosing your benign nephrosclerosis. Plus this one, thyroidization, looks like thumb horsefall protein. TAMM, thumb horsefall, TAMM, yeah. H as in horse, O, R, S, F, A-L-L. Thumb horsefall. One L only. I'm sorry, one L. Thumb horsefall protein. or if you want the accurate one, please check your aerobics. Nasa kay, kanasa sometimes mistakenly, but just remember the name because it's multiple choice man in the boards. So, at least you know the spelling, kung in case practical, I won't be strict with the spelling because I know in your board exam, you won't be dealing with spelling, you will dealing with how to pronounce. As long as you know it pronounced correct, I will just consider. Tapos for protein. Okay? BP, what is the BP for this one? BP for this one. Benign nephrosclerosis. BP. What is the BP? What is the starting BP to consider if it is hypertensive? So this is higher than or equal to 140/90, but not more than 200/130. So, be strict with your criteria. Higher than or equal to 140/90, but not more than 200/130. Otherwise, it is considered malignant nephrosclerosis. So, be strict in your in the endorsement, if ever in the future you will be interns, now be strict with your definition. Okay, maybe your resident maglilibog sila and he will ask you more question and then you'll have more difficulties na noon. Instead na you'll have the comforts in your endorsement table. Sometimes you will feel the comfort. I don't know if anyone feel the comfort in the endorsement table, but mostly endorsement table you need to read because there are a lot of questions to be asked.
Anong nangyari? Ay, God. Salamat, Lord. Alex. Tingin mo.
Okay, so this one, what is this problem here? So first, we have to evaluate first if you're dealing with the heart pathology or a vessel pathology. Now, this is the hint. A heart pathology, always you would see the color highly eosinophilic cytoplasm and around nucleus. That is, if you have to see rhabdomyoblast in order for you to consider a heart pathology. Now here, did you see any rhabdomyoblast here? Huh? Rhabdomyoblast. Color, what is the color? It's not red, diba? It's pink. So there's no rhabdomyoblast here. What do you see what is striking to you are this hole. What are this hole here? This one, what are these lumen? This one, what is this lumen? What are those? Those are capillaries. Capillary, so this is capillary hemangioma. Capillary hemangioma. So you will see those multiple capillaries, multiple hole there that looks like, I don't know, honeycomb. It doesn't look honeycomb to me. It looks like honeycomb. There are plenty of holes over there. Those were capillary hemangiomas. Benign looking capillaries. Your lining epithelium for your benign looking capillaries are, what is the lining epithelium? Review your histology. What is the lining epithelium for your capillary? Simple, stratified, transitional. Simple what? What is your capillary? Does it involve in, what is the function of your capillary? Diffusion. What is the epithelium that is capable of having a diffusion? Squamous. Why? Because squamous is the thinnest of all. You should have, remember your fixed slope diffusion inversely proportional to your thickness. So the thinnest epithelium is the one that is lining your capillary, which is symposquamous, and your capillary is best in diffusion, diba? The function is diffusion, so the epithelium should be symposquamous, or else your diffusion will be impaired. If you have simple cuboidal, you will have impaired diffusion. So this one, these are your capillaries. So this one is symposquamous, and you see those plenty of holes there. Those are capillaries. So this is capillary hemangioma. Here I think this is a vein. This one, I think this is a vein, but these are capillaries. Capillary hemangioma. So these are your. If you see those darkish mark here, your birthmark, that is your capillary hemangioma. That is the medical term for your birthmark, capillary hemangioma. So if you want to be a pathologist, do not answer birthmark, answer capillary hemangioma. So any questions with capillary hemangioma? Benign tumor, that's a benign tumor. Originate from your capillary. So here, we're looking here, I'm going to specify the organ because I think this is a lot, but if I don't specify the organ, this is the aorta. Okay, so in the aorta, what do you think is the abnormality that you see here in the aorta? Diba? Muscle here, these are muscle cells, this is the tunica media, this is the tunica media here. What is this space here? Diba? That is a tear. So that is aortic dissection. So very easy to identify the practical exam. I will specify the aorta. I will specify the aorta because if I don't specify, maybe you would answer atrial myxoma because it looks like atrial myxoma. But if you see this is the aorta and you see that space over there, that one, that is the tear, aortic dissection. I'm going to show you in scanner so that you will understand how it is the picture. I'm sorry, but the slide is a little blurry here. Just consider the pink color here. So this is, you see the pink color here, and the pink color here. This is the aorta, tunica media of the aorta. You see this white color here? This is the dissection area. So that is aortic dissection. So normal, so the problem is here, the blood will sometimes go here. Hole here, dissecting the aorta will create a stabbing pain on that area. And mostly when you have aortic dissection, what genetic disease, what two genetic disease do you have that mostly you have aortic dissection? Two genetic disease, name me two. Number one, what's that? Biochem, it has already been teach in biochem. What are the two genetic disease now with aortic dissection? Because why it is aortic dissection? Because their connective tissue are too weak. That's why they form aortic dissection. What are those? No, genetic disease. You haven't teach. Okay. Marfan syndrome, number one. Have you heard? Marfan syndrome.
Yes.
Marfan syndrome. Those tall guy with very long hands, and then with the finger that looks like spider webs. I have one of my batchmate. There's one with Marfan syndrome, and he complained one thing, we scared out of our wit because one of my batchmate, he complained of a very severe stabbing pain. We thought he would die out. And he was brought into the emergency room having aortic dissection with the lens that is easily detached, so-called subluxation of the lens, Marfan syndrome. What is the other genetic disease? It came out. Very good. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. What is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? Fibrillin and what feature? In the case scenario, how would you know it's Ehlers-Danlos? The very contortionist. You would imagine a person in which he could accommodate itself in a small box in which he would squeeze in. That's Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, contortionist. So those two, remember, those two. Number one, highly tested, Marfan syndrome with aortic dissection. It came out in the board exams. Number two, Ehlers-Danlos.
Si ano siguro?
Yes, that's it. And
Si
then,
si Kim Jong.
aortic dissection,
Parang may
aneurysm,
Marfan syndrome.
also common, and
Isa siya
subluxation of the lens.
Di ba?
Marfan syndrome, autosomal dominant recessive.
Recessive.
Autosomal dominant recessive.
Recessive.
Now let me ask you, structural or functional or enzymatic na?
Structural siguro.
That's enzyme, di ba? Fibrillin. So that is your autosomal recessive.
Sabi na eh.
You check your manual. You check lang the biochem. So autosomal recessive or dominant. I forgot that one. Maybe it's recessive.
Narinig ka kaya niya.
Autosomal recessive.
Ang ano?
Okay?
Yung sagot mo? Narinig ka. Hindi ko alam. Maybe. Gusto mo marinig yan. Basta kasan mo.
Lakasan mo next time. Tumat tayo lahat. Para marinig.
Sabay-sabay tayo.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2.
Ayoko na mo. Ano? Tiken. Para dumadunggan ni Doc. O siya isulti para madunggan ni Doc. Ano?
Hindi. Ano lang.
Bakit yung ulo ko?
Dan. Babaw ra tong dadon. Babaw ra.
Ilahan ni may kikan no ang Serenity. Serenity may kigang.
Sa asawa niya.
Serenity, di ba?
Bakit? Ano yan? Bakit ka mag-down? Ay, kinuha mo flower girl. Sabi ka, diba? Smart casual. Pag gano'n. Si Mike, ano lang siya, mag-t-shirt doon. Kaya talaga yung matandang yun.
Okay.
Oh, very smart.
So, what do you think is this pathology over here? Do you think is histology or pathology? Pathology, I think, because of these inflammatory cells. These are your lymphoplasmacytic cells. And then you will see this one. If I tell you this is an aorta, would you believe? Aorta?
Yes.
With this lumen like this big?
Yes.
Diba? Or if this is a large artery, would you think this is a large artery with a lumen this big? This is not the normal large artery or aorta. This is obliterative and arteritis. Obliterative, why? This here, there is inflammatory lymphoplasmacytic cells and those fibroblasts that is attempting repair. And what diseases, what infectious diseases would you see obliterative and arteritis? It came out in the board exams.
Han, tingnan mo, Han.
What diseases?
Tingnan.
Anyone who could think? Okay.
Kasi
What
aalis yung
diseases?
papa.
Obliterative
Wala na
enarthritis.
siyang pagkain.
Have you heard of a male with 16 sexual partners?
Oh
Wow.
my God!
Grabe
16
naman.
sexual partners, and here comes, when you
Check.
check the penis of the male, God's penis of the male, there is an ulcer, painless ulcer. Remember that diseases? What is that?
Check!
Syphilis. So, this is an obliterative enarthritis. When you see this in your biopsy, in the practical exam, and I ask you what is the infectious disease, that is syphilis.
Go check.
This is definitely the diagnostic for syphilis. This autopsy. When you say an autopsy of obliterative enarthritis, you have to make sure that you don't speak, that the secretions does not come in contact with the normal skin, or else you might have syphilis and XIV. Yan siya. Because this is obliterative, padoon na tertiary. Tertiary, neuro. I think secondary or tertiary after that. It's there sa infectious disease. So, you have to recall lang your infectious disease. I think it's secondary or tertiary. Maybe it's secondary because tertiary is neurosyphilis. It's secondary. Secondary is syphilis.
Louis and Persian. Kulong.
Okay, so if I specify this as an aorta in the specimen, and you see that lumen is so tiny, and then it is infiltrated by lipoplasmacytic cells and collagen fiber and obliterative enarthritis. That is your diagnosis. The infectious agent is syphilis, secondary stage syphilis. Okay?
Ilabas, expands. Over time, this place. Si Ron. Kasi niloloko ko siya pag nag-report siya. Nanonood ka naranasan mo ba yung declination?
High school.
Si Rob din yan. Pag nagre-report.
Conflict.
Ilabas, expands. Over time.
Parang ko bird.
Or silence blue, the outer space.
Okay, so this one. What do you think is the specimen? Kidney. Okay, kidney. Physiologic, histologic, pathologic.
Pathologic.
Pathologic. Okay. Now, let me ask, I'm going to ask you what is this one? What is that? Identify the pathogenesis or pathologic process at the tip of the pointer. What is that? The structure. Diba? Have you heard, is it wire looping or thumb tracking? Diba? I revealed to you na this is wire looping. Why? You see that nucleus there looks like wire loop. There's a perinuclear halo on that area. So that's wire looping. That's siya. And one area you will see perinuclear halo, one area you will see thickening of the cytoplasm. So that is wire looping
Abot na yung
of the nucleus. So what is the disease, the pathology in which there is wire looping? What is that? SLE, lupus erythematosus. Diagnostic for lupus is anti-double-stranded DNA. Remember ha, anti-nuclear antibody is never confirmatory. Remember that, do not be confused sa board exam. If you see ANA, please mark it wrong. Automatic na siya. That is not confirmatory. Anti-nuclear antibody is just presumptive. So, Do not be confused with anti-nuclear antibody. It's presumptive, non-confirmatory. Okay?
Special.
Okay, this one.
Artery.
Anyone who want to identify the organ before I specify the organ? And this came out in the board exams. This October board exams. This histopath morphology came out in the October board exams. What do you think is this organ? Anyone who could have a guess or definitive answer? The liver. Why is this not the liver? Because it is infiltrated by predominantly inflammatory cells. So what do you think is this organ? Why is it a spleen? Correct, you're correct. It's a spleen. Pero why is it spleen? Did you see this one? Red pulp. Diba? And then your inflammatory cell. Diba? That's a spleen. So, in the spleen, do you see a blood vessel like this thick? Or this one? No, that's not a normal blood vessel in the spleen. This is a blood vessel that is undergoing onion staining. So, onion staining of the blood vessel in the spleen. Na siya. So, what is that disease? Comorbidity. SLE. So, remember that it came out in the board exams in August. Board exams, onion staining in the onion staining of the vessels in the spleen, that is SLE. Na siya. You see this one? When you see this one, it looks like onion peel skin. Na siya. When you see it directly. Okay? Questions, confusions. This one is definitely a must study because it always came out in the board exams. Na siya. Remember, SLE, onion staining of the spleen.
Alam mo nung sabi ni Mama?
Okay.
Gusto daw niya
So,
storyaon
this
si Doc
one.
Pas.
So what do you
Mama,
think is the problem with
Kili siya na.
Ito na yung mga cousin to
with this one?
na nag-share daw kay Chris ng Indian to Philippines.
Oh, pinood ko na kamay na lang ako. Wala na ako sa sila. Karoon na.
Oh my God.
Yan din ang mangyayari sa atin. Kasi masyadong madami ang batch natin.
Mapatakam sa silag dawat. Good. Magsana to ni kita pa mag-adjust. Kita ang bungo ng
Hindi
dagan.
ko makipag-storya. Like, ganahan ko mag-discuss. Wow. Unfair. Dili, another paper. Sa ilang cousin, my first year.
Anong first year sila kita ibaw
Dapat
kita
meron
dito?
yung yung parang sa, di ba yung student body? Dapat meron yung yung forum ang
Ato,
student
iputan ko
body.
sa suggestion box nila.
Ay, walang kwenta.
Walang kwenta.
Madami na kami nilagay ni Hanilo doon. Walang mangyari.
Mag-swap kong dagan. Ako iputan dito.
Dapat tayo. Kalil yun ang tanan. Patay ganun.
Yeah, Angel. Unfair kayo. Para sa
Wala kita
homework.
gistoryaan. Watag gistoryaan. Watag ipahibaw.
Sa decision.
Oo. Watag ipahibaw. Wala nag-asa tumutin yun.
So,
Wala.
what do you
Kita
think
nagbayad.
is the problem with this organ? So, what is this one? What is this organ here? This one. This is a vessel. Okay,
Kailan
this is
siya
an artery.
nag-message sa'yo?
So, what do you think is the problem with this artery here? Huh? Did you see those inflammatory cells here? Yan na, that one? That one? Okay. So, what do you think? Do normal arteries have inflammatory cells? No, diba? No inflammatory cells. So, these are your
Ano ba yan?
polyarteritis nodosa. Polyarteritis nodosa, that means that there's this one, this wall is undergoing fibrinoid necrosis. Polyarteritis nodosa is an autoimmune disease of the blood vessel in which there is a fibrinoid necrosis. So the characteristic necrosis in an autoimmune disease is fibrinoid necrosis. It came out in the August board school. So remember na autoimmune gani ang disease. Autoimmune disease, your necrosis is fibrinoid necrosis. Type 3, hypersensitivity. Okay? So, when you see a blood vessels in which the lumen is okay, but you see many infiltrates of inflammatory cells with necrotic tissue here,
Oh, lagi.
that is fibrinoid necrosis, so this is polyarteritis nodosa. Compared with your obliterative endarteritis, the lumen is small. Na siya, kanindi lumen. Tako ni siya na lumen. The lumen is not problematic. The problematic is the wall here. Pathology is the wall here. Compared to obliterative endarteritis, including the lumen is occluded na siya. That's why it's called obliterative endarteritis. There's inflammation in the wall plus the lumen is small. Pero in polyarteritis nodosa, lumen, okay. But the wall here is infiltrated with inflammatory cells and necrotic tissue. That is fibrinoid necrosis na siya. So that's how you differentiate polyarteritis nodosa from your obliterative endarteritis or syphilitic urethritis. Okay? Questions? Clarifications? Doubts?
About life.
Sa mong future daw.
Okay.
Pwede ni mo ito
So, reserve your doubts before the practical exam. So, if you have doubts, you can ask. Okay, do not wait until the practical exams na siya. So, remember the lumen, take note of the lumen. If you think this is a vessel injury, if you think this is a vessel pathology, take note of the lumen. If the lumen is big, normal ang lumen, the wall is infiltrated by inflammatory cells, that is polyarteritis nodosa. If the lumen is small and it is infiltrated by inflammatory cells, that is syphilitic urethritis. If the lumen is small and no inflammatory infiltrates, what is that? Capillary hemangioma. So, take note to look about 3 confusing items, pathology that you should note in your practical exam. So that's why it is very wise for you to know inflammation, the morphology of inflammation, to help you rule out those confusions. That's why you develop a system. I have teach you already the schematic system. If you can follow that in your practical exam, but make sure you have to go it through fast, not slow, because you're only given 45 seconds to diagnose. Actually, pathology is 30 seconds, pero you're not pathologist, and so I would like, I think maybe 1 minute, we'll try for 1 minute, pero since you have large in number, the time is inadequate. So 45 seconds to know ang technician said. So, you have to make your diagnosis in 45 seconds, so practice it always.
Tapos, ang gamas niya ng
Kagool.
So this
Reaction ni
one.
mama. Kumasyag na.
Now, if you see here, a big lumen here with a clot here. This is the clot here. This is a thrombus. And you see an stratified squamous epithelium. This is your criteria for diagnosing external hemorrhoids. So you see this vein here. This is dilated, and it is this is your hemorrhoidal tissue here. Hemorrhoidal tissue. This is the skin on the external this is I think the anus area. That's why it's covered with stratified squamous epithelium. So very easy to identify the practical exam. If you see a big vein here with thrombus formation and a skin, that is external hemorrhoids. You see those RBC here, red blood cells, those red one, and here are your platelets, the blue one. Okay. So any questions, clarifications, doubts? Very easy to identify. So 3 criteria ha. This one, stratified squamous epithelium, dilated vein with thrombus. That is hemorrhoids, external hemorrhoids.
Kaya ng almarana. Kaya almarana? Nag-record eh.
Okay lang. No problem. No,
Dire ah. Dire ah. Pero masakit talaga yan. Kasi si mama ko may almarana.
Okay, this one, dilated vein filled with RBC. Here are dilated veins also filled with RBC. No epithelial, no stratified squamous epithelium. That is your internal hemorrhoids or hemorrhoids. Internal hemorrhoids. So these are your internal hemorrhoids. This is the pathology here. Dilated vein with RBCs and no stratified squamous. With the external hemorrhoids, the stratified squamous epithelium should be shown for you to classify. Or else, if you don't have the stratified squamous, you cannot differentiate external from internal. It's so difficult because they have the same picture. The only thing is the one is outside the anus, the one is inside. That's why stratified squamous outside skin naman na siya. So when you say hemorrhoids with a stratified squamous, that is external hemorrhoids. No stratified squamous, just plainly dilated vein, that is internal hemorrhoids. Okay? So questions, clarifications. Okay, so if you have, if you think you cannot master the slides, please review that back in your laboratory. Kay para sa practical exams, 45 seconds, at least you are already in good shape na siya. If I tell you this is the aorta, what is this? What are these structure? This one. Those are cholesterol plaques. It's a golden brown cholesterol plaques. Here are your thrombus formation. This is your aorta, wall of the aorta. So very easy to identify. So atherosclerosis, your cholesterol plaques composed of cholesterol, and then risk factor, obesity, dyslipidemia. Okay? So your pathology process is infiltration of your LDL, bad cholesterol, on the aorta. Okay? Questions, clarifications?
What if pangutan siya?
So, none. So, we'll call this a day.
Pero,